Hey guys, Richard here with eBike Reviews and Adventures. So today we're going to take a look at this fifth wheel Thunder 1FT e-bike, and I'm going to go through the specs with you, show you a little bit of riding video, and well, let's just jump right into it. Okay, I really appreciate Fifth Wheel for sending this to me so I can take a look at it. And here's how I can describe this bike right here. I think this is an entry-level e-bike, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through it right here. It's a stylish bike. You know, I like how it looks. I like the color on it, and that shock, that spring shock back here really kind of stands out a little bit. So, yeah, you got the white wall. Or not the white wall, but the white CST BFT tires on the back right there. So it just kind of adds to the overall styling of the bike, and I think it looks sharp. So starting up here at the front, we do have CST BFT 20x4 fat tires, and I'd like to see when we have a good name brand tire. And you know, you can see the tread right there, so it's good for on roads, do some off-roading as well. We do have an integrated front headlight right here, along with a reflector. And we do have suspension forks here with the lockout up here on top, so you can adjust those for your riding pleasure. Moving on up right here, we have a folding stem. We'll talk more about the handlebars here in a moment. We got the wiring right here, which is partially wrapped and looks good. Moving on to the front here, there you can get a better shot of that folding stem. It allows you to fold that handlebar down, make this bike a little more compact. It does fold it right down here, so it is a folding bike, which makes it easier for transport and storage. Up here we have some pretty basic handle grips, but they are leathery, so that is nice. It's got a really nice feel to it. No palm rest like you do see on some bikes, but nonetheless, it's a really nice feel to it. The brakes are no name brand brakes, but they are mechanical disc brakes. Up here we have a pretty simple display with just two buttons. Hold the power button down and it fires up. And of course you'll see all the relevant information there. One thing to note on this bike is you only have 3 levels of pedal assist. Okay, you got the 0, then you got the 1, 2, and 3. I double tapped and accidentally turned on the headlight. There we go. All right, and over here on the right side, we do have the really basic Shimano 6-speed shifter right here. And it, one time that I tested it out, it seemed to work just fine. We do have a thumb throttle right there. Getting back down here now, the battery is tucked away inside the tube right here. So to get the battery out, you have to fold the bike up and then slide it out the end. But they do give you a port right here for easy charging. Now this is a 48-volt bike, but be aware that this battery inside here is only 10 amp hours, so it's not going to get you very far. So this is great for riding, around in the neighborhoods and stuff, but honestly, you would chew through that battery super fast if you tried to take this bike off-road, which is kind of how it was intended. So it's a little confusing, It's intended maybe to do a little off-roading because you do have this rear suspension back here, which is adjustable, which is all nice. But if you do any off-road riding, then you'll chew through a battery really fast, and it's already a 10 amp hour, so I wish that had been a much bigger battery. Moving down here, you can see what the frame looks like, and this is where the frame pivots with the suspension spring right there, and it's a fairly comfortable ride. I will give them that. The pedals are plastic, so they're not the metal that we like to see on e-bikes. Moving up here, we do have a quick release seat post, and the saddle is pretty firm. Attached to the saddle is a battery operated rear light, so the rear light is not integrated with the battery. And then moving on back here, you can see with the rear wheel what the disc brakes looks like. You do have a 500 watt motor back there. Now the 500 watt motor does peak at 800 watts, so it does an okay job with getting you down the road. Now this bike does come with fenders. It comes with a front fender and a rear fender. I chose not to install those. Installation for the front is pretty standard like it is with most bikes. The rear one, you do have to deflate the tire, let all the air out so you could squeeze and get in right here with a screw to be able to screw the fender in and attach it there. And then you have the additional attaching points right back here. But again, I chose not to add the fenders just because I mostly ride bikes in dry weather. I'm not gonna have to worry about mud or wet water or anything slinging up on me. So I think that bike looks real good without the fenders. You let me know in the comments down below what you think. So on this side over here, you can see we do have a double chain ring right here for keeping your pant legs and things out of the chain. I always like to see the double chain ring. We do have a derailleur guard on this side, which is a nice little feature you don't always see on even some higher end bikes. So that's really all I can share with you about this particular bike and the specs. So I will tell you that it has a weight capacity of 220 pounds. I'm 245, so I exceed the weight capacity. The company knew that when they sent it to me. So we're going to get a little bit of riding video with other people riding it. And I may still take it out for a ride, just so I can give you my feedback as well. All right, guys, so this bike only weighs about 48 pounds, and so it's light. It's a lot smaller, so I'd almost say it's like a teenager bike or something for the size, because it is kind of small compared to some of the other bikes. And I'm a big guy, so you know it's going to appear more smaller to me than maybe some of you. But something to note right here is, you know, I've got it powered up. I've got it on pedal assist 3. And you get nothing out of the throttle. And I've noticed that a few times now, that you just get nothing out of the throttle. But then once you start to move, the throttle kind of engages. There we go. So now the throttle is engaging, and I'm not sure if it was designed that way or if maybe there's just something wrong. I suspect it might be just designed that way. But we're not going to take it too far, since I do exceed the weight capacity on this bike. But I just want to show you, it's got really good pickup and go speed right here, and it does top out at 20 miles an hour. It acts like it wants to do more. I mean, there's more to it there than this, but you know, 20 miles an hour is as far as it's going to go, and then the motor goes ahead and cuts out for you. So, but it sure acts like it wants to do more, which is good. So the mechanical disc brakes work pretty good. You know, I could lock them up right there. I had a little more left in me, so I could have locked them up, but I didn't. You don't get a lot of motor noise with this one, I noticed. I mean, you can hear it, but it is a lot quieter than some other motors that we've tested. So that's a plus also. The rear suspension is pretty decent. I mean, I'm sitting here bouncing along just a little bit, and don't want to bounce too much because I already exceed the weight limit. But let's go up here on the sidewalk a little bit. Yeah, so even just doing that, you know, going up and off the sidewalks here, you know, I can definitely feel that suspension working back there, and it just really makes the ride more comfortable. So that's a huge plus too. So, you know, if you're a smaller person, you know, it might be something you want to look at. Just be aware of the battery. I have not done a range test. I'm not going to do a range test on this because, you know, 10 amp battery is probably going to, you know, it's probably going to get you maybe 15 miles or something, and I typically go that far or farther. So, yeah, but it's a fun bike. I mean, one thing about it being smaller, it makes it more nimble, so it's easier to handle. So you can make some really sharp turns on it, and so that part I like. I always like smaller bikes that make it easy to get a really sharp turn out of it. And you can probably see my knees there, but you know, I could have raised this seat up a little bit further. Not a lot, but I could have gone a little higher on this seat. But I'm mostly riding it on throttle right here in front of the house, so no need to do that. So, you know, overall, I would just have to tell you that this is, you know, it's a fun bike. It certainly is. It's my favorite features of it is the fact that it is a little small, which makes it nimble, and it's got that dual suspension on the rear that makes it a little bit easier and a little more comfortable of a ride. So, and I like that it has the 20x4 fat tires, and they're CST branded tires, so I really like that as well. I did have my daughter Amanda take it for a quick spin, and she seemed to like it just fine as well. I'll show you those video clips are right here. hey guys, that's it for the fifth wheel Thunder 1FT. Now this bike, you know, they had it retailed at $13.99, which is a little steep for this bike right here, but they do have it on sale for $9.99, and they gave me a discount code for an additional $300 off. So what you're getting here is a $700 bike, and that's kind of why I mentioned it's a good entry-level bike, because it's a budget bike. It doesn't have high-end components by any means, but you know, it's got everything you need right here. And for someone who might be looking for a bike that is looking for something that is more affordable to kind of get you around the neighborhood, then check this out right here. There'll be links down below. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, subscribe. And if you have any questions, drop them down below. And until the next video, ride safe.